Oh my goodness, I guess we're on. Hi everyone, my name is Georgette and I work for attorney Vincent Davis. And I wanted to do this show today um, for many reasons, okay? There's a lot of people that call us, especially family members, that are told that the parents are bad parents, and even though that that's their children, they're believing the social workers. So let me tell you a little bit about what happens with CPS, okay? When CPS becomes involved, humans, me included, sometimes we'll lose our mind and selves and then we start talking, right? Then we say too much. Whatever you say to the social workers, it will be held against you. If you said 3 sentences to the social worker, they're going to add 500 sentences to things you didn't say. Okay? Please keep that in mind. They don't care about you. There is no nice social worker. There is none of them exist. However, family members seems to think the social worker is on their side, and that's far from the truth. Okay? The social worker is not on anyone's side. The social worker is on their side. Okay, they protect their supervisor, they protect other social workers, they lie, they deceive, they fabricate information. So you need to keep that in mind. The reason they want to divide you apart from your family and your family from you is because they want you so tired, mentally tired, to the point where you either break or you commit suicide. And I'm not joking, this is real. They're going to go to your mom or your dad or your sister. They're going to say, well, example, Monica said that you molested her when she was 5 years old. Or Monica said that you're an alcoholic. Or Monica said you've done drugs in the past when she was a kid. Then the mother or the father, or the grandparents, will get upset. And then they will go to Monica and say, what the hell are you doing? Then they're going to start saying things about Monica to the social worker in retaliation to what Monica said. Then they're going to lie to the grandparents. Well, we're thinking about leaving the kids with you, but you have to go get your foster license. We have to get your home approved, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. All of that is misleading, depending on the age of the child. If the child is an infant, a baby, a newborn, or a year old, or a 6 months old, or 18 months old, or up to 3 years or 4 years, okay, they see these kids as adoptable. If they don't get the children adopted, they're not going to make extra incentive, meaning they make more money when the children are adopted. Again, they give the family members false hope. Then they're going to come back, right? When there's a home that wants to adopt the children or the child, then they're going to come back to the mom, the grandmother, or the grandfather, or the sister or brother, or even the sister-in-law. They're going to say, well, we got a report, there's this charges against you. And the grandparents or the siblings will say, well, what charges are you talking about? I've never been in trouble in my life. That's not true. Then they're going to leave you hanging. So your daughter is stressed, your daughter or son, whoever's involved in the case, is stressed. They're about to lose their mind. You're losing your mind trying to clear a record that you don't even have against you. And by the way, if the grandparents or the uncles or the aunts have any record against them, family members, that's decade old. There's a new law that I guess it came out in 2021 or 2022, where the SB 513, I think it was, but I will make sure, I will double check. That law forgives any um, relatives, right, that has like a record against them from decades ago, that pose no risk to society currently. Meaning the grandparents can have a theft record against them 30 or 50 years ago. Okay. or 20 years ago, or 10 years ago, or 15 years ago, or 5 years ago. It doesn't matter. As long as they don't pose current risk to anyone, including the children, the social worker by law has to place the children with them. Okay? So keep in mind, the whole purpose of CPS is to divide, because when you divide, you conquer. You have to divide to conquer. It's a demonic strategy. So that's why oftentimes I refer to CPS as the whorehouse. Whorehouse. There's a true story that was told to me 4 months ago. And I shared this story with my best friend. I want to call her sister. Her name is Stacy Pine. She used to do shows with me. And so we have this client that was having sushi with her daughters. And the social worker was sitting next to them. It was like they were sitting on a sushi bar, and the social worker was sitting next to them. The social worker started a conversation with the mother's teenage daughters. Okay, and the social worker didn't. Of course, she didn't address herself. She wasn't wearing a badge or anything like that. And the mother was interacting with the daughters and telling them, hey, you need to be careful. You need to watch out what you're doing. Don't trust anyone out there, et cetera, right? And then the mother went to the restroom, and then the social worker started asking her daughters, so how do you like your mom? Is she a good mom? Do you have any relatives in LA? So how many kids are you guys really? Are you two, or is there more kids? Is there any younger kids? That woman was asking the daughters so many questions. The girls were answering her blindly. And then as soon as the mother came out of the bathroom, went back to sit down, one of her daughters said, hey, Mom, this nice lady is asking questions about you. And of course, the mother interacted with her, and she asked her, what is this about? And then she said, well, no, I just wanted to make sure that the kids are cool. It seems like you're a good mom, blah, 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 blah. The mother figured it out right away. And she asked her, she said, are you a social worker? And she said, yes. So the mother kindly paid for her stuff, for the food, and then got a to-go box and left. She said the social worker was following her home. But before all this happened, the social worker already got a hold of the grandmother and the grandfather and told them that their daughter is doing drugs and she's prostituting herself, which was not true. They also disclosed that the children disclosed of abuse and neglect. Do you understand how they're setting everything up? None of it is true. None of the information, right? Like I just shared a true story with you guys. The mother is a great mom. She has nothing wrong with her. But they found a reason to get involved. They found a reason they can be sitting next to you. They can be your next door neighbor. They can be your neighbor across the street or down the street from you. And you don't even know. They have to divide the family apart in order for them to succeed. Their success comes from when you guys are divided, you guys are fighting, you guys are going back and forth, arguing with each other, instead of uniting together and becoming one unit. Okay, unity is important when it comes to families, especially during a case that involves children being snatched for profit. And oftentimes you guys ask me, especially on the phone, well, what do I do, Ms. G? What do I do now? You need to talk to your family, your friends, get together and be able to help you financially if you can't afford hiring a CPS defense attorney. Recently, I've heard about a CPS defense attorney. I'm not going to say his name, but only God can deal with this man. I'm not going to say his name. I refuse. I can't. I can't. That attorney is in California, and he What he does is he tells people he can help them. He promises them to get their children back. First of all, you cannot promise such a thing because it's a criminal offense. The state bar will have a field day with this and remove the attorney's license. Oftentimes, when people call me, they say, Miss G, can you promise us that Attorney Davis will get the children back? I say, can't make a promise like that. We can by law, we cannot, no attorney can make a promise like that. But track record, I tell them, track record of Attorney Davis, 40 years of doing this, is pretty damn good. Then they say, well, if you're not going to promise us, we're going to get this other person. Well, get the other person. Then they call us back after their termination of parental rights is being established. And then they want Davis now to take on the case that attorney messed up, right? And they want him to do it for nothing. Because according to them, they already paid this other attorney. When you guys choose an attorney, and an attorney promises you that they're going to get your children back, that's not the right attorney for you. An attorney's job is to understand the whole story, communicate with the, social workers, CPS attorney, and he gets involved in a case and tells you, instructs you, do not speak to the social worker without his presence or her presence. They have to be involved. Because when you go to the CFT meeting and you have your mom and dad, right, and you're in that meeting with the social workers, and if your attorney is not there, and the social worker asks you a question that would be detrimental to your case, your attorney has to step up and say, excuse me, do not answer this question to the client. But oftentimes you guys get attorneys where they say, it's okay to talk to the social workers. I don't have to be there. They're lazy. They're lazy. They're not doing their job, or they're afraid to do their job, or they're afraid to go against the social workers. I have seen attorneys file a 388 during trial, and that kills the case. There's so much things that happens. You guys don't understand the rules, the regulations, and you guys think that, you have got it together. You really don't have it together. When it comes to CPS, they're already 800 steps ahead of you. I used to say in my shows, CPS is 200 steps ahead of you. But the longer I stay with Davis, the longer I work with him, the longer I go to court cases with him, I go to hearings with him, I go to trial with him, I see that they're actually 800 steps ahead of you. You cannot outsmart a social worker. I don't care who you are. I don't care how educated you are. You cannot outsmart a social worker. So I'm asking you guys, instead of you fighting together as a family, I need you to unite together as a family. Because even if you don't like your sister, and your sister is in CPS custody, your niece and nephew is CPS custody, you need to put your differences aside, and you need to look at the big picture. The big picture is this: the children are the ones who suffer the most. CPS, when they take children from the family, the children become neurotic. They become destructive. They're confused. They're crying every night. They're screaming, hitting their head against the wall, because they don't understand why they're not with mom and dad. Then what the social workers do, they have this special doctor the kids go to, and that doctor provides narcotics to the children. Those narcotics is to keep the children silent. And then, of course, the children get hooked on drugs. And then when they become teens, guess what? They're going to want to have more drugs, different type of drugs. And then all along, the parents are going to be blamed. I get calls from people who say, Miss G, I'm not a bad mom. I hate it when they say that. I'm not a bad mom. I don't drink. I don't smoke. I don't do drugs. Never been arrested. So I tell her, I said, so you think all the other mothers been arrested and done drugs and, they're alcoholic? She said, yeah, that was just today. That really hurt me. Because what they don't understand, or some of you guys don't understand, is that you don't need to do drugs to have your children removed from you. All you need is one false allegation against you. One false allegation against you, and they will come after you. That social worker has to remove children. That's why if you guys notice in your case or cases, if you notice, they always send you guys different social workers. The first one is a nice one. You think she's on your side. BS, she's not on your side. She's never on anyone's side. She's on her side. She's on her pocket side, right? And she's in that luxury car she's driving to make more money. Then they send you a social worker that's somewhat nice, confusing nice, kind of. You can't figure her out. Then they send you another one and another one. And then all of a sudden you get the bitch from hell, right? And that woman or that man is going to say, oh, Monica is a prostitute. She's a drug user. She does methamphetamine, blah, 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 blah. But the other social workers didn't say that. The first social worker that you say she's nice, she said, oh, your home is beautiful. You're a good mom. We're going to close the case. Then all of a sudden, the police knocks on your door with the social worker supervisor, with a court order, sometimes not a court order, and remove your children. You have to understand, this is called a demonic strategy. They have to deceive you. Because if they say, okay, Monica, we're going to come, we're not going to come back. We're going to come back with the police or the sheriff. We're going to remove your children at 3:00 in the morning. What do you think Monica's going to do? She's going to pack her stuff, take her children, and run away. Now it's going to take time to look for Monica and the children. That's why they have to deceive you. Oftentimes I hear grandparents, for example, say, well, I have Cherokee Indian in me, and my daughter too. So therefore, we have to get the Cherokee Indian team involved in this. What they don't understand, it doesn't really matter. If you lose your jurisdiction, the dispositional hearing, especially on the first hearing, in the detention hearing, that's when the attorney has to do his or her job to make sure the children are returned to you that day. Because oftentimes they violate your rights, and a good attorney will understand what to do that day. That's a very important hearing. The second important hearing is when you have the jurisdictional dispositional, right? The dispositional hearing is so crucial. Attorney Davis did a video, and I'm going to send it to you guys if you guys request it. And it's a long video. I think I can email it. He did it in the office, and I was videotaping it. He was like on the chalkboard. He was writing down, like examples on what happens in a dispositional hearing. Okay. And oftentimes I try to explain that to parents and family members, but they think that the social worker is actually telling them the truth. They think that if they didn't get the children back or remove the first hearing, then it's going to be okay. But what they don't understand, if your first hearing, the children were not removed and it was continued, guess what? Your next hearing is going to be a disposition hearing. That's what they aim for. And oftentimes your court-appointed attorneys, don't understand crap. Because if you really do the background check on your court-appointed attorneys, guess what? They come from criminal. They come from real estate. They come from, what's the other one? Real estate, criminal, and probate court. So what their understanding is whatever the court tells them, CPS court, whatever the social worker says. That's why oftentimes the court-appointed attorneys would tell the parents, hey, Just listen to the social worker, do whatever they tell you. You have to do this, you have to do this, you have to do this, you have to do that. And you're going to get your kids back. Then 5 months down the road, 6 months down the road, in the 6 month review hearing, well, I'm sorry, I didn't know why they didn't return the children on the 3 months. We need to continue doing this. We need to continue doing that. It's kind of like a salesperson. When you go buy a car, and I hate to use that as an example because children are way far more important than a freaking vehicle, but I'm giving you an example of how they operate, okay? When you go buy a car and then you say, well, that price is too much, I need a lower price. Then the salesperson leaves you, goes to the manager, pretend they're talking. They're not really. They just pretend talk about the day or what they're going to do Friday night. And then they come to you and say, well, the manager agreed that we can give you this, da, da, da. And then the customer would say, nope, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. I need a better price. Then they go back and forth, back and forth. That's what the CPS attorneys do. The court pretenders, I call them, do. First, they tell you 3 months, okay, then you're going to get your children. If you plead guilty, you're going to get your children. If you do this, you're going to get your children. If you do random drug testing, you're going to get your kids. That's bull crap. All of it is bull crap. The longer they brainwash you and the case is open, the more money they're going to make from the federal side. You guys honestly think that social workers take this job to protect? Social workers take this job, easy money, immunity, partial immunity in California, but it's still immunity. Social worker can lie under oath and she's not going to lose her damn job. Okay? So understand this. They take on a job that is stable because they know they can't just lose it, and they make money from stealing children. A social worker that stays in a job like this for years on, and they see the corruption and they're okay with it, they're not good people. They're not. Because a social worker has to do exactly what her boss is telling her to do. And it's the same supervisor that you guys call to complain about the social worker, but the instruction is actually coming from the supervisor. You guys need to understand this is real. This is not a TV show. It's not a TV drama. It's not a film in the theater that you pay money to go see. This stuff is so real, and it gets worse and worse and worse. And oftentimes you guys say, well, what can we do to make a difference? Well, these judges are getting reelected. Why are they getting reelected? Because we, the people, refuse to be involved in their election. If you're not involved in their election, they're going to be reelected. And oftentimes, you guys talk too much to the social workers, your mother, your father, the grandparents, that is, I'm sorry, the grandparents, the mom, the dad, you guys talk too much and disclose too much to the social workers. And you think you're doing the right thing. Grandparents, please stop. I'm begging you to stop because you don't know nothing about CPS. You have no idea how far they will go to destroy your grandchildren. And you have no idea how far they would go to destroy your daughter or son, whoever the parent is to you. And also keep in mind, there's a recent, and I should talk about it when Stacy's with me on the show. But there's this girl that Stacy and I knew, more so Stacy. She was murdered, and she was fighting CPS. But they're saying it was suicide. It wasn't suicide. Her name was Lizzie. And actually, Stacy, my girl, did a show with her, one-on-one, before she was murdered. That was a couple of years ago. But she was murdered recently. But again, they brushed it under the rug. and said she committed suicide, which is not true, because she loved the fact that she can still fight for her children. So please keep in mind, the more you entertain demons, the more demons you're going to enter your home. And CPS is 100% demons. They're demonic. They're nothing, there is absolutely nothing nice I can say about a social worker. These people, you get a social worker that's what, 23 years old? Or maybe 21? Doesn't know shit about life. I'm in my a little bit more than mid 50s. I'm almost 60. But let me just say something. I don't know everything. But these mother F's, little kids who are social workers, are so stupid. They're so ignorant. Because what they do is, if they go see a mom or a grandma or a grandpa or whatever, they have issues from childhood. For example, all of these kids have issues from childhood. Then they would say they just don't like the mom for some reason. Why don't they like the mom? Well, she reminds them of her mom or their mom. Oh, I don't like the dad. Well, he reminds me of my dad. Oh, I don't like my dad. So every dad is now scumbag. Well, I don't like moms. Every mom is a scumbag. You have to understand, they use their past history to determine what type of parent you are. That's why you hear a social worker telling the grandparents, your daughter's unstable, or your daughter has mental health issues, or your son-in-law has mental health issues. Who in the hell are they to diagnose a parent? But they do. They diagnose a parent. They already know the parent is crazy. So again, grandparents, I'm begging you, understand that if you want to fight for these grandkids, you have to also get an attorney for yourself, grandparents, because the court is not going to give you a court-appointed attorney, and thank God for that, actually, because they're going to ruin it anyways. If you want to adopt your grandchildren and say that your daughter, is going to lose her rights, or your son's going to lose his rights, once your son or your daughter loses their rights, you have no rights. None of the family members have rights to the child or children. So you need grandparents. You need to hire your own attorney, a CPS defense attorney. Please do not tell me you spoke to a family law attorney, for God's sakes. We're talking about a CPS defense attorney. If you want to get your grandchildren or adopt your grandchildren. Same thing with siblings, aunts, uncles, sister-in-law, brother-in-law, all of them, still the same thing. Oftentimes, the grandparents say to me, well, I live in Oregon, or I live in San Francisco, and the case is in LA County. And the social worker is telling them, no, you have to find one in LA County in order for us to give the children temporarily be placed with. That's a lie. 100% lie. You don't have to have a family member in the same county and state that your case is in. Attorney Davis addresses this millions of times. Literally millions, I think, because he has so many shows out there, and every show he says the same thing, in almost every show. You can place the children with anyone who is a family member in the United States, anywhere in the States, or even out of the country. You guys seem to forget something. The social workers, you think they're telling you the truth, even though you see the corruption, but you're so desperate that you think they're going to tell you the truth. They're not telling you the truth. When you guys send information to your court-appointed attorney, if you tell your court-appointed attorney, I have 34 family members that I would like to be considered for placement instead of placing the children in family homes. You have 34 people. You have their names, their relationship to you, and their addresses and their phone number. If you just give it to the social worker and not email it to your court-appointed attorney or your attorney to address it in court in the beginning, and that attorney doesn't do his or her job, because that attorney would look at the list and say, okay, well, all right, social workers, you know, you couldn't find one parent suitable for a child placement out of 34 people on the list. Because remember, if you give it to the social worker, they're going to write down that they contacted these people, which is not true. Because your family members will tell you they were not contacted. I know that for a fact. And if the family member, the grandparents or the aunts and the uncles have the mother or the father who was involved with CPS living with them, they're going to retaliate against the whole damn family. They're going to say you failed to protect. If the crazy, ex broke in the house, in your house, in your grandparents' house, in your mom and dad's house, the grandparents, and you're there, and say he stabbed someone, the neighbor, for example, when the neighbor tried to intervene. CPS is not going to see that the grandparents have nothing to do with it. They're going to say that even though there's a restraining order against him, he forced himself in the home. Guess what they're going to write in the report? The grandparents allowed the ex-husband to walk in the home. He was invited in. That's what they're going to say. He was not invited in. Right? Really think about it. A mother that fled away from an abuser, she went to hide in her parents' home. He found out where she's at, broke down the door, and the one neighbor that said to him, get out of here, you don't belong here, he gets stabbed by the ex-husband, the father of the children. Okay? The social workers would say things like I said a few minutes ago, the father was invited in. Now, you know darn well the grandparents will never invite a man that abused their daughter and their grandkids. And there's outstanding restraining order against them. But see how CPS twist the information. So they can get an emergency court-ordered removal. They go in there with the police. They intimidate the whole damn family. And the grandparents think it's okay to tell the social worker or talk to the social worker. And the mother, the father, same thing. It's not okay. Because everything they say, you say to them, they're going to mislead the information and they're going to lie. Dorothy, I don't mind sending it to you, but I need some time to find it. I think it was done like a year ago. And I know I have it saved in my files. I just need to find it, but it's a very good video. I will send it to you. Yeah, real estate. Thank you, Dorothy. You're right. I was thinking about that too. I was like, I know there's another name I couldn't remember. Yes, real estate. Also, criminal attorney, real estate attorney, probate attorney, or even a family law attorney. Those type of attorneys handling a CPS case, they're fraud. Fraud. 100% fraud. Dorothy said, example used how you buy a car, but children are way more important than that. If the case is open, the more money they get from the federal government. That's very true. Dorothy said the judges are being reelected. Are you repeating what I'm saying, Dorothy? You're repeating what I'm saying, young lady? Oh, that's funny. Okay, let's go here. Maria. Has he won most of, if not all his cases, even current ones? Maria, the only time you lose a case with a great attorney is if you yourself screwed up your own case. or you lie to your attorney. Or the attorney, like for example, we have clients who Attorney Davis tells them not to speak to the social workers, and they do. You get me? Because whatever you do without your attorney being present, you're causing this to happen to you. If you, for example, talk to somebody and say, you know what, I was speaking to an advocate and the advocate said I need to file this or I need to do this or I need to do that. Now there's a certain times in the cases where things needs to be filed. Certain forms needs to be filed. A good attorney, a CPS defense attorney understands that. But oftentimes when people speak to other people, clients speak to other people, they think these other people know what they're doing, and then they tell Attorney Davis to do it. You get me? So Attorney Davis would not be an attorney for 40 years if he's not a good attorney. He's a great attorney. I have seen him win cases. I have seen social workers lose their damn mind, especially in India, CPS Court, Marietta, LA County, and Orange, and Yolo County, Sacramento. They know who Davis is. I would never work for a man for over 12 years if I did not trust his ability to get children home. But you, as the parent or the grandparents, you guys are your own worst enemies. You're the only one that will destroy your case if you don't listen. And oftentimes you guys are told not to do, and you do. And I swear to God, it's in writing. Yesterday, for example, well, the social worker came to the house, and I said, my attorney told me not to talk to you, and she slams the door in the social worker's face. I said, yeah, but you're missing one important information. Provide her with your attorney's name and phone number, and kindly say to her, I will not speak to you without my attorney present. So coordinate it with my attorney as the time and the date you would like to have us available. But do you see how misinformation can be transferred? Right? So now Attorney Davis, when he goes to court, the judge can say, well, Attorney Davis, why did you tell your client not to speak to the social worker? And then Attorney Davis will have to say, well, Your Honor, I specifically informed the client not to speak with anyone without my knowledge and my presence. But you think that person didn't do anything wrong. It's the way you word information, the way you interact with them. Just because you have an attorney doesn't mean it give you the right to be aggressive and rude. I'll give you another example. I was stopped in a traffic ticket, a speeding ticket. I drive a little car, doesn't even go past 72 miles an hour. Okay. So the cop said I was going 91. It's impossible. My car would never go 91. I wish it would. And I was in the fast lane. The police was right in front of me. First thing Attorney Davis says, do not, if they ask you how fast you are going, do not say it. Do not say how fast you are going. I swear to God, he said that to me. And the first thing I did when the police asked me, ma'am, how fast do you think you were going? I said I was in the fast lane going 72 miles an hour and the speed limit is 70. And Davis looked at me like, what the? I just, like, right before the cop comes out, like, he instructed me not to say something. I'm guilty of that too. You guys are not the only ones. Sometimes when we see the badge and the gun and it's like a thing in us, it's like, we have to talk. You really don't. All you have to say, be very brief, especially when it comes to the social workers. And you say, I have an attorney. That's his name. That's his number. Please coordinate the time with him or her, and I'll be happy to speak with you. That's it. You see how different that sounds than my attorney told me not to speak with you and slams the door. It's different, right? It's a different way to approach things. Hey, Jamila. Um, Megan said that's what they want. They try to intimidate you into thinking they're on they're on your side, and they are not. The caseworkers are not always on your side. That's true, Megan. They're never gonna be on your side, ever gonna be on your side. I know. I figured that out when I was reading it. Intimidation, but they will never be on your side. That's why I'm trying to educate grandparents out there, and that's why I did this show today. Um, I'm gonna have to start doing shows every day now if I can, because I have a lot of work to do and I have a lot of studying to do. But I'm gonna do my best. Um, I'm gonna start doing shows, and if you guys want me to do a specific show to talk about a specific topic, please don't hesitate to email me. Um, I have my email here. So my email changed. It was GAT, now is GT, just simple GT at vincentwdavis.com. You're more than welcome to email me. If you guys want to be on my show, please don't hesitate to email me also to let me know. And about that video that I discussed about Attorney Davis is giving us a seminar to one of our clients about the jurisdiction dispositional hearing, exactly what takes place. I think it's like an hour long video. I'm not sure, but it's pretty long because I remember my hand was hurting when I was videotaping it. It was pretty long. Please don't hesitate to email me and just send me a reminder and let me know that you're requesting that video. Please call it the uh, disposition video that Attorney Davis, jurisdictional dispositional video that Attorney Davis did in his office. Just remind me, that's what you're talking about. Um, Dorothy Cook said, if you lose custody of your child when the child is a minor, can you get custody back even after they become an adult? But if they become an adult, they're gonna have the right to do whatever they want, Dorothy. Now, when you say an adult, I'm thinking about 18 and up, right? So if they're 18 and up, the child can, the child is not a child anymore, really. He or she is 18 years old. They can come and stay with you. They can come and know their mom again and their dad and their family. But oftentimes the social workers keeps the kids until age 21. Why? I found out recently. The longer they have the kids, the more money they make from the federal government. So what they tell the children is this: oh, if you stay until you're age 21, you're going to go to school for free, college for free. You're going to have your own housing. You don't have to pay for it, blah, 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 blah. So the kids see that as a plus. Okay, well, I want to get a free college. I want to get free education. I want to get free housing. Then they get to stay. You're very welcome. Um, Let me see if I'm missing anyone. Anna Smith said, "Are you Miss Grace? That helps with the show prep." I'm not Miss Grace, honey. I'm Miss G. Grace is Grace. Um, but if you want to get a hold of Grace, you can email Grace at Grace So Grace, the name Grace, and then at vincentwdavis.com. And you can email her if you'd like to be on the show, or if you have any questions you want to ask her. Um, okay, so I'm sure Grace saw this message because she's on the show right now in the backstage. Okay, she's backstage on the show. I'm sure she saw that message, Anna. Anna said, "Yeah, CPS don't know the meaning of honesty. They want the kids like they're candy. I say we because I am a formal foster child." I'm so sorry to hear that, Anna. And as a formal foster child, like you said, you know what they're capable of doing, and you know all the lies they say to you as a child, and you become under their control, and they actually brainwash you completely. They try to brainwash everyone, all the children, so they can be under their spell, I call it. And that's why I called CPS the whorehouse. They are the whorehouse. Do you guys have any other questions? If you guys want to get a hold of me, you can call me as well. The number is 626-631-8901. Or you can call the main number in the office and you can ask for me. And I'm going to have special guests, I think, next week on Tuesday. One is going to be on Tuesday. Um, and she's a special guest. She's going to be on the show with me. And there's another one also. There's actually two more. Maybe we should do the show. Maybe today's what? Friday. So maybe on Fridays at 4 p.m. I'm going to talk to Grace on that one. And we'll go from there. Thank you guys for joining me. I hope you guys share the video with your relatives if you have a CPS case. If your grandma or great grandma or your dad, uncle, sister want to get a hold of me, please give them my information. I'll be happy to speak with them as well. Again, if you have any questions, please contact me or contact the office and ask for me. Thank you so much again, and God bless you all. And I will see you guys later.